Thank you.
Okay, let's just start again on that. So,
Now, I'm not saying that I'm super curious about human behavior, but I have been known to study and wonder what it is that makes people do what they do. And I'm sure I'm not the only one who does that.
all right. So, are you using too many words to say the same thing?
Probably, yeah.
So, what can we do? So, will it be that, and to throw at the audience, have you ever stopped and wondered, what it is that make people do what they do? That sort of, now you put your own words to it.
No, that's right. Yeah, that
And
works.
And that leaves it, and then you leave a space of a second or so for people to let that wash over them. Okay.
Yep.
We go next.
That's what I keep telling myself anyway.
So we can bin that anyway, can't we?
What really, really fascinates me is what it is that drives people to desire to make a decision on what it is that they want.
Okay. Now, you could kind of come back to, in my case, I'm fascinated what drives people to make a decision. Now, what you did is you added in a lot of little extra words in here.
Yeah.
Hang on.
What really, really fascinates me is what it is that drives people to desire to make a decision on what it is that they want. What
that drives people to the desire to make people.
Yeah, it's just waffly, isn't it? Yeah.
It's
I'm a classic waffler, Alec, honestly.
Yeah, no, that's fine, but I'm just going to point these bits out for you.
Cool, thank you. Yeah.
And just to see if you could recraft them into something.
Yeah.
There's no problem having pauses and letting people think about it. And the fact of saying that I'm fascinated. I'm actually fascinated by what drives people's desire to want something. Okay.
The motivator to any attraction that they have, what is it that drives them? Now, we could go quite deep into this and start to psychoanalyze it, and you'll be pleased to know that I'm not going to do that. But I think something that is definitely worth noting for you and your business is the narrative or the story that people are telling themselves about a particular area in their life.
Now, where is this leading to? In the sense, like the narrative, the story of people are telling themselves in their life. I think it's always about you. I think we should consider what is the narrative that people are going through in their mind at a particular time of their life. Now, the good news is we're recording all of this, so you'll have.
Yeah,
so you
I'm on it. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So again, I'm just making suggestions on how you might recraft this.
Yeah.
Now, the real question is, once we understand that, is it the narrative that's driving them to the desire to make a decision on the product, service, or solution that they want? Or is it the emotion that the story or the narrative is creating?
Yeah. So again, there's a lot of filler words in there.
Okay.
And you might have some scientific background to that if you want to inject it. Certainly from research, quote the research from such, it is the emotive side of the purchase rather than the narrative that's going in their mind. What is the ultimate aim? What do you want people to leave this story thinking?
What I want people to leave the story thinking is that whatever it is that we're selling, and bearing in mind that the audience is primarily a speaking audience, that how do we communicate whatever it is that we sell to sell more? That's the key point that I want them to take away, fundamentally. Yeah.
Well, you'll be
okay. So that could be introduced earlier on. So we have the opening question.
Yeah.
And then you could kind of include we are all speakers. And I've been fascinated to sort of research what it is that drives people to making that purchase in relation to what we have to deliver. Again, I'm just giving this off the top of my head. It needs But so now we bring them in as an audience into the story. So now they should be interested. Okay. Why
This is about me. It's not about you, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's about you, not me, and the other way around.
Yeah, it's about
about-
the audience, not about
Yeah.
me. Yeah, that's what I'm
Yeah,
driving at.
that's
Yeah,
it. So, I'm fascinated too, because if this is of value that they go away with, then it'll resonate more closely with them.
yeah,
So make it so what you're now demonstrating is that you can give a talk on a topic of interest and make it relevant to that audience.
exactly. Yeah,
Because remember, the key component marks in this go to, is this something I would pay for?
yeah,
I mean, you'll have how it's put together, you'll have style, you'll have all the bits and pieces, but the key one that people are interested in, would I pay to hear this talk?
yeah,
And keep that in mind. You're in sales, so
Yeah.
you should be good at this.
yeah, yeah,
Pleased to know that there are some smart people in the world who are just as curious as I am when it comes to studying this stuff.
Okay, now there's some smart people in the world. You might quote that. You've done some research,
yeah.
so there's no harm throwing in somebody of value in research,
Yeah.
and don't call it stuff.
Okay. Yeah.
American theoretical physicist Leonard Mlodinow, in his research and latest book, Emotional, How Feeling Shapes Our Thinking.
Now, okay, you've quoted somebody. Whatever his name is, blah, theoretical physicist in emotion. And sorry, let me just get that little bit again.
Leonard Mlodinow, in his research and latest book, Emotional, How Feeling Shapes Our Thinking.
Emotional, how feeling shapes our thinking. Emotional.
I see where you're going. Yeah.
Emotional. How feelings shape our thinking.
Yeah.
This is congruency in the talk.
Yeah.
So don't be deadpan to it, because
No. I mean, you've got to remember, I was brought up in Yorkshire. I've got to get that out of me somehow, Alec.
Yeah, well, you're getting your opportunity now. It's only 5 minutes. I have to do something like this on Saturday. I have to be a bit more
Yeah.
kick some enthusiasm in.
Yeah.
Really what you're looking to do is, I want you to be thinking of the pace of it.
Yeah.
And this is okay. Let's go.
Came to the conclusion, emotions help the brain choose what sensory information to pay attention to, how to process it, and what other data, such as
So if we just go back there,
latest book, Emotional, How Feeling Shapes Our Thinking, came to the conclusion, emotions help the brain choose what sensory information to pay attention to, how to process.
so it number one. Hang on, let me see. Let's go back, because I don't know it all.
Latest book, Emotional, How Feeling Shapes Our Thinking, came to the conclusion
That
emotions
came to the conclusion that number one,
Yeah.
help the brain choose what sensory information to pay attention to, how to process it,
number two,
And
how to process it.
data such as memories or goals to weave into a decision-making process. It's such a good question.
I would have looked for a third one. So
Right.
The 3 key lessons that can be taken from his research are number
Yes.
1, number 2, number 3.
Yeah.
Power of 3.
All that. Yeah.
And it's got such profound implications for how you bring your solutions or products or services to the market.
The findings in this book will help audience decide whether they buy what you have to sell or don't.
To repeat it, is it the story that people are telling themselves that drives the desire to make a decision to do business with you, or is it the emotion that the story is eliciting in?
That's a repeat, isn't it, of what
Yeah, it is. Yeah. You just drop it out. Yeah.
All good advertisers know what Leonard Mlodinow has just told us. They know that it's the emotions that are driving the decision-making process.
Okay, so we now know that emotions are driving the decision-making process.
Yeah.
So the question for most people is, so what?
Yeah.
You got to
Okay.
look at any advert and ask yourself the question, what is it that they're trying to elicit in me in terms of an emotion, to know that
Again, this is the circumlocution. What is it in me they're trying to elicit in the emotion?
Yeah.
What emotions are they trying to tap in?
Yeah.
Press A.
An emotional choice to choose a brand, even if we're not aware of it, even if it's subconscious and subliminal.
Subconscious
And
and
then the next
subliminal
question
are
is-
the same thing, whether it's
One or the other. Yeah. 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 Okay.
Why is that information so important to you as a business owner,
And it's not why is it so important to you? This information is vitally important to you
Yeah.
if you want to convert those sales.
Mhm.
speaker? Nobody who ever bought a drill ever really wanted a drill. They wanted a hole.
And it's not a bad analogy.
Yeah.
People tend to forget that those who bought it, or those who buy a drill, are actually not buying a drill. They're buying a hole. And then you let the audience ponder on that for a second.
Yeah.
Or multiple holes, you can make.
What do I mean by that exactly? What I mean by that exactly is that people who buy a product, a service, or a solution don't really
What that tells us is, it's not what do I mean by that. What this tells us is,
want that product, service, or solution. They really want the solution that that product, service, or solution gives to them.
now we have a lot of solutions in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
I
what
can hear that.
the
Yeah.
outcome they are looking for
Yeah.
is.
So if they're looking to buy a particular item, it's usually because they've got some kind of pain in their life, or they think they're going to elicit some kind of pleasure out of the product. So
You like that word elicit, don't you?
Am I clinging to that word in this one? Yeah.
Just want to hold it because I use this sort of emotive terms, and let me give you an analogy I use. Just it'll help you hopefully. One of my clients is in the security alarm system business.
Yeah.
And one of his clients has 2 shops. And
Yeah.
one of the shops, the alarm keeps going off on a very irregular basis, usually about
Right.
3 or 4 in the morning.
Yeah.
So he was on to my client and looking to get a cheap solution.
Right.
Now, the question is this: what is the impact of that alarm going off?
Yeah.
Number one, he's been woken from his sleep at 3 or 4 in the morning.
Oh, that's just the worst, isn't it? Yeah. Stop right there.
Number two, his partner and children are being woken up.
Oh my God.
Number three, he has to leave his house and go down to a premises, not knowing whether it's a false alarm or there's actually intruders on the premises.
Yeah.
Number five, his spouse and children are now worried about him, so they can't get back to sleep.
Yeah.
So maybe an hour later, he gets back. Everybody wakes up the next morning shattered.
Yeah, for real. Yeah.
Does he want a cheap alarm? Or would he be much happier that if he had a phone beside the bed, which triggers the alarm, he can tap it, turns on the lights in the shop, he can see around, he can reset the alarm, and he can go back to sleep? Would he pay extra money for that?
Of course he would.
So that's the emotive side.
Yeah.
And what and the reason I was telling you that story, have you got an emotive one? I mean, the drill and hole is fine, and people will
Yeah.
get, but is there an emotive one?
Yeah.
Like that people go, oh Jesus, yeah, I get it. I get it.
Yeah. An emotive story is what you're asking for. Yeah.
Yeah. And think about that. Have you got one in your life that you've come across? I mean, you can always take mine if you want to, but you know what I mean? I don't.
No, I think it's always better to be authentic, isn't it? And think
Yeah,
one up
yeah, yeah.
yourself. I mean, I'm sure I can think one up. Yeah, no worries.
But if you see what we're talking about here, so the people often, they're not looking for the cheapest solution. But you won't get to what they want without discovering their pain.
Yeah.
So perhaps maybe that might be the key message in this, is that you will not make that sale or bring them on board unless they understand the pain that they've got and the impact it has on their lives.
Yeah.
So, for example, if you take the speaker one, here we go again.
Yeah.
Tell me, Tony, what was you had a speaker at this conference last year? I did indeed. How were they? Actually, they were a bit of a disappointment, and that's why we're looking around at the moment.
What happened?
Yeah,
Yeah.
what happened? Well, they were a bit of a diva, to be quite honest with you. Turned up expecting this, that, and the other. They were late arriving. They spoke for longer than they should have on the stage. What was the impact of that? Well, the impact of that was our CEO was 15 minutes delayed coming onto stage for his piece to an audience of 400 people. What was the impact of that? I'm making this up as I'm going along. But
Yeah, totally. No.
what was the impact of that? He was well pissed off with the whole situation.
Well, that's great, isn't it, when he gets on stage? Yeah, wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah, he is well pissed off now. And again, and you can imagine it. And guess what? I got it in the neck. Where did you get this person from? Did you not vet them out properly? Did you not do this? Did you not do
Yeah.
that? You know, he nearly missed his flight as a result of this 15 minutes.
Yeah.
What the hell? Yeah. So there's an example. Find something that relates to speakers and the impact that they have.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on.
A solution. If you haven't storyboarded 4 or 5 main problems that people are potentially talking to themselves about, or their network, or real goals, real pleasure that they might want to achieve, you might want to do that.
You're talking about the problems, which is fine. And have you storyboarded the problems?
Yeah.
So where do we find out their problems?
Well, I think we do it by asking questions, and I think you've already elicited that by inserting the story a little bit earlier. So I know I like that word elicit, but yeah.
Inserting the story early. Do you see where I'm coming from with this?
Yeah.
If we make it nice and punchy and pressy.
Yeah.
The key message is, I suppose, it keeps coming around to something like, understand what your potential buyers are looking for. So there may be key topics that are top of the mind at the moment, but you need to know what they are. You need to research what sort of speakers they've had in the past and what the reaction is. So we need to know all of these things. So I'm only kind of waffling a bit, but you might need, here's 3 key things we need to know. You know, what is the impact of what we're going to deliver? 2, you know, what the response will be. 3, how we perceive, a number of things there. All right, let me move on.
That's the basis of all the content you can create to put out there to bring people in. You could add value and be of service before they decide if they want to continue the relationship further with you.
All right. So number 1, you're going to have to do a couple of things. Number 1 is do some research about this person or that sector on the key topics that sector are looking to gain knowledge on. And I think also, you know, what's the impact that we're going to be delivering for them? And the credibility side. Okay, move on.
Yeah.
Remember, whatever content you put out there, you are never, ever selling a drill, because people don't want the drill. They want a hole. That's right. So whenever you are putting content together for your own business, for your own speaking business, what you want to be doing is you want to be talking about the problems that people have.
What you're talking about here is about making content relevant and of value.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Or more importantly, the goals and aspirations that they might want to achieve. Remember, whenever you're putting content out there, nobody who ever wanted to listen to you wanted to hear you talk about a drill or whatever it is that you want to talk about.
Yeah. I think there's some recrafting around all of this.
Definitely, yeah, yeah.
And there also needs to be some change in pace and tonality.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Now,
yeah.
I know I've heard you speaking, and I know you can you can change that a bit, but by inserting what I'm talking about, you will find you will chop off probably the best part of 50 to 100 words.
That's great. I mean, I've made some great notes there, Alec, and you're right. I mean, look, I can hear it. When you listen to it with somebody else, it sounds different, doesn't it? And all I'm trying to do at this stage is get the content right. Let me go away and do that again. And then once I've got the content right, I can start to do the stand-up and actually insert the emotion and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's on Saturday,
15th.
the 15th. So it's 2 weeks from next Saturday.
It is, yeah. 2 weeks on Saturday, yeah.
Yeah. All right. So you have a bit of work to do on that.
Exactly. Yeah. How many times do you think I need to practice to get this right? From your experience?
When you've crafted what it is that you want,
yeah,
it'll start sticking with you because their sentences keep coming. You want to be careful. I'll tell you. Let me give you an example. You were at the last meeting, were you?
Was, yeah.
And we had what you call him, Colm telling his story.
Yes.
Problem with Colm's story was he's told us so often he's lost the passion from it.
Right. Yeah.
So you have to be careful. Now with 5 minutes, it's only 5 minutes. You know, you can do 10 rehearsals in 2 hours and you'll have it pat. It's the crafting that the hardest work is this crafting to get.
Yeah. Okay.
And it's the old sort of adage of tell them what you're going to tell them, then tell them it, then remind them what you've just
tell them again. Yeah.
And it's that, but how do you craft that in so it comes through seamlessly? And don't give them too much information. They want sufficient information to go away and do something with it.
Yeah. Curious. I mean, ultimately, I mean, you know, I know we're not selling in the PSA, and that's definitely not what we're doing. But what I'd like this talk to be is a lead in to people coming to, you know, maybe have a look at my website. You know, that'd be ideal, you know. And then I've got other leading material as well, so I can expand this. But obviously, this is a 5-minute job. So yeah, that's really helpful, is Alec. Thanks. Yeah.
I'm just going to stop